say thank you so much for coming, each and every one of you. Let's try, if we can, just in this moment, to center, to root ourselves here in this place, at this time, and to enter into the place where we like to try to access when we get together. When we get together in these events, which is a place of stillness, of silence, trying to access a place that ordinarily with the noise of everyday life, it's very difficult to access. So we get together from time to time in this hall, whenever I have the privilege of being here, and we try to gift ourselves with an opportunity to go deeper, beyond the noise and how noisy it's been. Oh my gosh, how noisy it's been. So we need silence and stillness more desperately than ever. The first thing that we all, I'm sure, are already carrying with us in heart and mind that we need to mention is that right now in this moment, knowledge, our brothers and sisters are being Moser Nefesh, putting their lives on the line for you and me, for all that is good and true and eternal. I'm privileged enough to have a bunch of friends who were drafted or called up. And they've been sending me messages and asking me to daven for them, like I'm sure they're doing for other friends, with their name. And the first thing I'm saying is, you take my name. You daven for me. Because there's a chusimar unimaginable, absolutely unimaginable. Mysterious nefesh kipshuta. So for whatever it's worth, right now we're doing our part. This is the way that we battle. We're not there, we're not on the front lines, but we're on the front lines. We're on the front lines in our own way. Trying to do what we can to bring elokus into the world, godliness into the world. And we get together in this way, through music and the Chazak. To do that, it should be a zechus for them. We should bind ourselves with them in heart and mind, where the captives should be speedily returned home in good health. So let's begin. Please join me. It's so sweet to be able to be together, to sit together here. We need each other more now than ever to get together, for Yidden to be in one room. It's like a little teva. It's like a little teva. What a crazy world we live in. For us to get together with some sane human beings, sane people. The air is very clean. It's very clean. We can breathe differently. Here we're safe. We're in this for you. You chose us. What did you choose us for? So the Heilige Ishbitzer, Spesiad Millennium, the Mea Shilach, has a diak in the Gemara, in the Chazal, the Medrash, that tells us famously that Avram Avinu, Hikir as Boirag, and Avram Avinu recognized that there's a God in the world when he was 3. Very famously, he looked around the world and he saw what Chazal described as a Bira de Lakas, a palace that was on fire. And so Avram Avinu looked around and he said, there's a whole beautiful palace and it's on fire. Miya Bala Bira. Whose palace is this? Who's in charge? And at that point, say Chazal, Hitzitz Allah Bala Habira. Which means the word Hitzitz can mean to look. Mitzitz Menacharakim. Hitzitz Allah Bala Habira. But in this context, it means appeared to. Hitzitz Allah. HaKadosh Baruch Hu appeared to Avram in that moment. He said, Ani HaBala Habira. It's me. It's me. Says the Ishbitzer, what a strange lashon. Hitzitz Allah Bal Habira. God appeared on Avram. What should it say? Hitzitz Elav Bal Habira. It should say Hashem appeared to Avram. What does this mean? Hashem appeared Allah. It says in the Shilach, the deepest thing. He says, the Kadosh Baruch Hu was telling Avram Avinu, you look around the world and the world is on fire. And everything's falling apart. You want to know where God is. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, don't you recognize my presence in you? It's you, Avram. You are the Bal Habira. Hitzitz Allah Bal Habira. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is revealed upon each and every one of us. He says, Ani, that element of yourself that you say, this is me, Bal Habira. The world is broken, it's falling apart. It's because I give you the tools to fix it. Hitzitz Allah, Allah Habir. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says to Avram, the darker it gets, the more light you need to bring. The more light you need to bring. And so the words we're going to sing now, Gam ki Eilecha, Yitzal Mavis, Lo Yirara. When we walk in the valley of the shadow of death, which is exactly where you and I walk, wherever we walk, at this moment in history, we walk in the valley of the shadow of death, which Baruch should protect every year. Lo yirara ki ate imani. I don't fear it. I don't fear it because I don't happen to have been cast here. Like, just didn't end up here. I was sent here on a mission to reveal this, that Ki'ate Imani, Hitzitz Allah Bal Habira, you're with me. And my job now is to just be aware of that, to be Moisef Ar, however I can, bring more light to the world, bring more light, bring more light, bring more light. Let's have that kavanah now when we sing these words, and to commit in this moment, because this is a time of committing. We have to be real now. To add on, whatever we've been doing, add on light. Take the next step, push the boundary. Lo ya'achshav ein masai. let's sing this together now. So Rabbi Nachman had a bit of a different shita. This hanhaga that people have when something happens in the world to say, this is the Mashiach is coming now, this is it, this is really it. So Rabbi Nachman said something sharp, based on the Gemara that tells us, in the Mashiach only comes behesach hadas. Not what everyone is thinking about him, focused on him. So Rabbi Nachman said that the day that they say Mashiach will come is the only day he for sure won't come. So it's a little sharp, and of course we believe that Mashiach is coming every minute. But regardless of whether this is Mamish Goy Magoi, or whether we're just the final era, Ikkas of the Mashiach, there's no question about it. We're getting ready for Shabbos, and everyone can feel that. A Tuesday in 2023 is already Friday, Because it's already Erev Shabbos. The Zohar Kodesh says that just like in Erev Shabbos in a person's house, everything speeds up, everything is so quick, and everything is rushed because you're trying to fit everything in. That's the energy of our time now. It's Erev Shabbos. Our Yiddishkeit can't look the way that it did 300 years ago. It can't. It's a different thing. It's Erev Shabbos now. So we're bringing music back into Yiddishkeit because we're getting ready for the Levim and the Beis HaMikdash. And we're bringing Pnimius HaTorah to the masses because we're getting ready for the Torah of Mashiach. Everything has to change. Our void has to change. Our hashkafas have to evolve. To be big, 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 big. Because we're getting ready. Livshi big day sefar techani. It's time to put on new clothes. Get ready for Shabbos. So this is one of my favorite songs about Mashiach. Because it took living in this generation to know the pirish amiti of the words. B'shal shanalach HaMashiach ba, that when Mashiach comes, O'emin al Gam Beis HaMikdash, he stands on the roof of the Beis HaMikdash and calls out, Anavim, Anavim. Humble ones. Higia zman geulasa. It's time. It's time. We're going to hear that, me and you. We're going to hear that. We are the dark. Higia zman geulasa. It's been a long journey, but we're here. So everybody wonders, and all the Mepharshim ask, Anavim, Anavim, is it Tzadikim, Tzadikim, or Yereim, Yereim? I'm not going to go with Charedim right now, but whatever. Talk about they should be on a high madrega to be the dar that's Zoichet to Mashiach. Tzadikim, what is he calling Anavim, humble ones? So I think very deep that there's a difference in English between the word humble and the word humbled. It's a different meaning. It's the same word, and it just has 2 extra letters at the end. It means a completely different thing. A person who's humble is a person who's humble. He works on himself or herself. He recognizes and realizes whatever I have is not from me, it's from Hashem. Humble person. It's good. Humbled is a whole different thing. Humbled means that you've been through enough in your life where it's not because you learned in a sefer, that Hashem runs the world and really we should try to get out of the illusion of Kodesh and Yadi. It's not you that's in control, it's Hashem's in control. No, you know it because it's become so clear to you that it's clearer to you than that it's night outside now and it'll be day tomorrow. It's a lived experience, not an intellectual piece of information. You've been humbled by life. Life has pushed you to the point where you have no other choice. You have no other choice but to ask for help. You have no other choice but to admit to yourself that this is just not working. That's a great light. That's a great light. Sometimes everything we go through in life is a Kodesh Baruch Hu trying to get us to that place. And we think it's such a big yeved. Why can't I just get it together? Why do I struggle with this and that? And I can't just get over this. And it's mamish hafuch. It's the opposite. Hashem is giving you a curriculum. He's trying to teach you something. Not sound. And until we get it, so then we haven't been pushed far enough. So this is our dar. It's a generation of healing. It's a generation of authenticity, vulnerability, openness. It's a generation of just not seeing there being a purpose in faking anymore. Adkan, we're done with that. So Mashiach calls our generation Anavim Anavim, humbled ones. Higiyazman Gulasam. You've learned it, you got it. It took a long time, but you're there. What a privilege. What a privilege to be in that time, in that generation. The generation of Double Malka Mashiach, Bali Tshuva, all of us. No matter how FFB, whatever other Rosh Hashanahs we think we have or are, this generation, we're all Bali Tshuva. We're humbled. We're on a path of coming closer. So let's sing it strong and loud together for each other, Chazak. Yisham Shelech HaMashiach Yisham Shelech HaMashiach Yeah It's not that we don't believe that he's Mashiach. It's that we look at ourselves in the mirror, our daughter, and we say, us? Me? Because you've been so humble. We are the greatest generation. HaKadosh Baruch Hu trusts our neshamas in a way he didn't trust the neshama of the Baal Shem Tov and the Vilna Gaon. He put us in this time, because he knows we could do it, and we're doing it. And we're not perfect, but our hearts are full of chesed, yearning to be better. That's the Ohr Mashiach. So now let's mamash daven together. Mamash daven. And some tefillahs about sad things are sung to very soft, slow melodies. And sometimes when the tefillah is so urgent, it requires a level of bitachon, and the level of az yashir. The literature says that before the Yamsuf split for them, they were already singing because they had such bitachon. So we have to sing these words, Hashia Esamecha, to a joyous meaning. And we're going to do it a bunch of times. And mamish, put your whole self into it. Because we have absolute bitachon. We're going to learn a little bit later more about this. That we're about to see Yeshuas and Nifla'os that we cannot even imagine. So right now we're in a tough spot. Shasat Chankin is Tzara Abel Ma'oid for Klal Yisrael. But the bitachon is there. The bitachon is there, so it's both. So let's dive in same is true for any of you, for all of you. But for me, reading the Parshiyos these past few weeks has been like no other reading of Parshiyos any other year. You read the stories, you know the stories, Bereshis, Noach, Eilecha, Vayera, Chayesara. But it's almost as if you're reading like a script for what like in Yonadiyah, like literally what we are experiencing and living. It's remarkable. Parsha after parsha after parsha. I'm reminded of the Gemara in Makkas. Chazak in a few places tell us that Rabbi Akiva the Tana was walking with another Tana, whose name is eluding me right now, but I'm sure some of you know who he was walking with, near the Makom HaMikdash, the Churban. And he sees that there are foxes running out of the Makom HaMikdash. Foxes, horrible thing. And so the Tana that Rabbi Akiva was walking with starts to cry, and Rabbi Akiva was laughing. So it's more natural to cry when you see a thing like that. Foxes, place of the Kohen Gadol, Keteris, Karbonis, the Shir, the Zimmer, the Levium. Foxes are running in that place. You can cry from that. So why is Rabbi Akiva laughing? And of course Rabbi Akiva says, I'm laughing because if this prophecy was fulfilled, Shu'alam Hilchuba, and the Navi says that the Beis HaMikdash will be destroyed and foxes will run in that place, and I know that this is part of the script, then I know for certain that this chapter is not the last chapter, it's part of a process. And all the prophecies about the restoration of our people in our land, and the building of the Beis HaMikdash is going to come to fruition as well. It gives me the greatest chizuk in the world amidst all of the horrible trauma that you and I in some way are experiencing and have experienced over these last few weeks, trying to process that which is impossible to process. It gives me great chizuk, number one, that the Zionists did not accept the British offer for Uganda to be the Jewish homeland. It could have easily done. And it gives me great chizuk that the Jews in Uganda are not being attacked by the Taiwan or the Taiwanese. It gives me great chizuk that we are not in Uganda and that we're not being attacked by the Taiwanese. You know why? Because that's not part of the script. There's no psukim in Amos that talk about Am Yisrael in the middle of Uganda getting attacked by some random Japanese nation. Or some, the people from the South Pole. I mean, that's just not part of the script. You know what is part of the script? Written in all of our Sfar from 1,000 years ago, that at the end of time, Am Yisrael will be attacked by Yishma. And that is par for the course, exactly coded into the books that all of our tzaddikim knew what happened throughout the generations. It's a painful, horribly painful. Tragic beyond words. Is it part of a process? Most absolutely. It gives me great chizuk, crazily enough. Okay, so in this week's parsha, a huge round of applause for our incredible musicians and the props, the elder of Mike who's joining us. What a privilege to have you with us. And so this week's parsha, Parshas Vayera, we're reading about the birth of Yitzchak Avinu. The birth of Yitzchak Avinu is Mamish Avinu. And as much as Avram is our father, Yitzchak is the firstborn Jew. Yitzchak is Mamish Yid. He's an Ivri. Mamish. By birth, the Gemara in Shabbos Peites famously tells us that at the end of time, when Am Yisrael needs some help and a Molamed Schus, an advocate for us in the upper realms, it's not Avram Avinu who comes to our defense, And it's not Yaakov Avinu who comes to our defense again on their level. It's a very complicated sugya. Who is it? Yitzchak Avinu. Yitzchak Avinu. Yitzchak is Mamash Avinu. Yitzchak is our father. The title of tonight's event on the flyer is HaPeleh, the wondrous, miraculous nation. We are such a miraculous nation that we are an impassable people. We are an impassable people. What does it mean that we're an impassable people? What does it mean for something to be possible? It means it's within the realm of nature. It's possible because it's natural. We expect certain things to happen. We expect certain things not to happen. It's called teva. It's called nature. The shoyrish, the foundation, the premise of Am Yisrael is rooted in a place of impassibility. What am I referring to? The fact that Avram and Sarah could not have children. They could not have children. It wasn't they were having trouble having, they could not have children. It was not possible, al pi teva, as Chazal say. It wasn't possible. Yitzchak comes from a place of the impossible. Yitzchak is an ace. Yitzchak is a nace, and that's why the whole thing of Yitzchak is laughter. Because laughter means to say that we expected something to go one way, and that's what a punchline is, right? A punchline that hits you that's why it's called a punchline. Because you're blindsided by something. You thought that the narrative was going one way, and then there's a twist in it. And we laugh. So the whole thing of Yitzchak is that we thought that there was teva, and it was all a joke. It was all a joke. Because Yitzchak says, look, I'm alive. My very nature, the very fact of my being is echoing with an ever-reverberating laughter. Because look at this punchline. It turned out that Avram and Sarah could have children. What a twist. What a twist. Now the question is what we consider to be natural. If we consider this world to be natural, and then within that world that we consider to be limited and fixed, there are those that still believe that things can change. So then, chas v'shalom, the laughter could be one in which we cause a person to be forced to confront the reality that there is only nature, there is only teva, there's nothing else. And that, in relation to that person's journey, is a sardonic, cynical laughter. It's also laughter because you thought that you're going to make something of yourself in this life. You thought that you would access great spiritual heights. You thought that you could accomplish something, and it turns out that you can't. Right? This laughter is called Leitzanos. This is the unholy laughter of Leitzanos, of cynicism. The master of Leitzanos in the Torah is Amalek. Amalek is called a Leitz. The pasuk in Mishlei, Leitz, Taka u'Pesi Yarim. Because I'll say Leitz is Amalek and Pesi is Yisrael. I'll tell you on that. Amalek is the Leitz. And that's why Amalek tells a joke in the Torah. Amalek tells a joke. Because Am Yisrael are on a journey from Mitzrayim to Har Sinai. And they think that this is it. They're out of servitude. They're about to receive the Torah. They're about to enter into a realm where a person could be a person and mamish not be here at all, be in the Shamayim. And Amalek comes with a cynical joke. Asher karcha bader. A punchline. Amalek shoves Am Yisrael out of the narrative that they were fixed in. And Amalek laughs in our face. And Amalek says, there's no hope. There's no hope. You thought that there was hope. There's no hope for you. This is the union of Amalek. And another pasuk in Mishlei describes the inner Amalek, the Yetzer Hara, with the words Melech Zakin Uksil. Melech Zakin Uksil, an old and foolish king. And the Sfarim explained, you know why the Yetzer Hara is called an old and foolish king? Because the Yetzer Hara is saturated with the spirit of ziknus, of old, of being old. There not being any hope left. There's no life, there's no vitality. Just get real. This is it. There is no revelation, there is no miracles, there is no story, there is no process, there is no... I hope everybody forgives me who's calling here. There is no anything. It's just this world. Melech Zakin Uksil. Where is Amalek rooted in? Esau. Esau is the Zaydi of Amalek. Esau tells Yaakov Avinu, listen, what do I need this grand spiritual stature of the Bechayra for? What do I need it for? Hine anoichi hailech lamas. Going to die. Lama lizeh Bechayra. What do I need this spiritual madrega for, this b'chayra? What do I need it for? Hine anoichi hailech lamas. The Sfarim say hailech lamas doesn't mean that Esau said, I am going to die one day. But hine anoichi hailech lamas means that every step I take is already saturated with the spirit of death. Hine anoichi hailech, wherever I walk, lamas, it's dead. Because there's no continuity, there's no vision, there's no ideal, there's no dream, there's no passion, there's no faith that one day things can fundamentally change. Melech Zakin Uksil. It's the foolishness of Chachma. It's a strange thing. Because Zakin, say Chazal, is a conjugation of three words, Zeh, Kane, Chachma. This one acquired wisdom. So he's Melech Zakin Uksil, which means he has to be intellectual. It's not an idiot. To be a lates, you can't be an idiot. You have to be bright to be a lates, because you have to find a way to make it seem as if you're brighter than whatever else is going on, and you're smarter than them. That's what it means. That's what Litzanos is, a chacham. It's a chacham of ksiva, kislos, of folly, because it doesn't bring you anywhere. So a melech zak is just an ancient old person that can't do anything anymore. Hini anochi halech lamas, wherever I walk, I'm the walking dead. Rishakim say Chazal, afilu b'chayei and kurim mason. They're already dead, because there's no eventuality, there's nothing to gain, there's nowhere to go. But Yaakov Avinu, Yaakov ish tam. Yaakov's whole thing is tmimus. It's the opposite of Litzanos. Simplicity, faith. Tamim tia im Hashem lekach. Faith. Ashrei temimei darech. Those who are tamim, those who are removed from the Amalekian chill, from Asher karcha baderech, that freezes us where we are and makes us give up on ourselves. Those who are removed from that Ashrei Tanina, you're a tam, darach. You have a way. Ha-holch in the service of Hashem. Not a velich lamus, chas v'sham. The opposite. V'atavat v'ekim Hashem l'keichem, chayim kulchem ayim. You're alive. You're so alive that even after such a person leaves the world, tzaddikim, afilu b'nisasam, even when they actually expire from this world, kurim chayim. They're going, there's fire there. Vibrancy, age is always flickering, moving. Ice cubes never moved. Never ever moved. I never saw an ice cube flicker or shake. Just, it's frozen, stuck. Asher korcha, amolik is kar. Tzaddikim are fire. And this is why Chazal and Tainas tell us, Yaakov Avinu lo meis. Yaakov Avinu never died. It's the contrast of Esau who always died. Right? It's not just the contrast of Esau who did die. Yaakov Avinu lo meis doesn't mean that Yaakov Avinu did not die at the end of his life. And Hini Anochi Eilecha doesn't mean that Esau did die at the end of his life. Like we explained. Hini Anochi Eilecha means that Esau died at every step he took. He was dead, and dead, and dead, and dead. Eilech Lamas. Yaakov Avinu? Loi Meis. There was not one moment in Yaakov Avinu's life where he was the aspect of Meis. Where did Yaakov Avinu get this from? Yaakov Avinu got this from Yitzchak. Yitzchak, whose whole entire metzius is the tzchak, the holy laughter, of recognizing and realizing that what I thought was hopeless is absolutely filled with the blessing of infinite possibility. Yitzchak is shaking with the laughter. That's the laughter of simplicity, the laughter of those tzaddikim who walked through the world ridiculed by all the big chachamim, big zakanim, with a little smile on their face because they knew the truth. I want to read to you a few lines from Chazak and we'll sing more. We have to understand who we are. I've been hearing so many messages from people with the situation going on as if our situation is hopeless. And Am Yisrael is facing extinction. And we have to follow every single WhatsApp status and news group and not miss one message because who knows what's going to be, and we have to know what Hezbollah is going to announce tomorrow, Shem Hashem Yirka, but we have to see what Russia's going to do, and we have to hear what they're saying in the UN, and this and that, and because all this matters, as if we're just another nation, as if we're not rooted in impossibility, that even when faced as if we're not rooted in the everlasting laughter of Yitzchak. The letters of whose name can be rearranged to spell Kate's Chai. He's rooted in a place where there is no life. Life is finished already. Kate's Chai. And it becomes Yitzchak, it becomes Tzchok, it becomes laughter. We forget who we are. We are an Am HaPeleh. We don't belong to the rules of nature. We just don't. It makes no difference what nature looks like. It makes no difference. We are in another category. It's not shaykh to us. Ein Mazel Yisrael, something else. Listen to our Tzadik's words and they recite from Eilecha Zayin. Ein li Yehudi le'isyayish mishum davar. A Jew has no reason to despair because of anything in this world. Not Not with regard to physical matters, which we just mentioned, Gemara and Brachas, even if a person Chas v'Shalom has a sword on their neck, al yibna v'narachamim. Don't stop davening, don't stop believing, don't stop here. You're not bound by the rules of nature. And the same is true spiritually. Even if a person is stuck where a person is stuck, that a person thinks there's no one in the whole Klal Yisrael who's stuck like I am in the things that I am stuck in. That even if a person did sins about which the Zohar Kadosh says, it's dealt with in different form what exactly this means, that it's impossible to do tshuva for this and that, or that it's really difficult and like I would have to work my whole life to rectify what it is that I broke. Or a person cannot seem to lift their head above the treacherous, stormy waters of this worldliness. Do not give up. Deciding for yourself that there's no hope for you. Of course, reminiscent of Rabbi Nachman's declaration, there's no despair in the world at all. And we know from the students of Chazak, Chazak didn't have any children, that's a whole story in and of itself. But we know from the students of Chazak that the Sifrei Rabbi Nachman B. Breslov didn't leave the table of Rabbi Tzadok HaKohen Lublin. Rabbi Tzadok was Mekushah to Rabbi Nachman the deepest ways. Of course, this is Rabbi Nachman's Torah, and he quotes it word for word. There is no concept of despair when it comes to a Jew. Hashem can make anything happen at any moment from places and ways that we couldn't dream. It wasn't even on our radar that this is where the salvation will come from. May I and Yahweh Ezri in Hashem. And here it says, the very foundation of the Jewish nation was rooted in a place which was after despair legamri, a place of impossibility. The Avram and Sarah is at Canaan. Because Avram and Sarah was at Canaan, Avram and Nika v'goymer. Shaloi olal das adam v'dahanin zeh afilu achar avtachas hamalach Sarah tzaddik is das v'emini Hashem baruch kol yachol. That even after the Malachim came to Avram and Sarah and told them you're going to have a child, Sarah was a big tzaddik. Of course she believed in Hashem. They didn't call zet sachaka b'kirba, but she still laughed, at least inwardly. Because it was such an impossibility that it was an impossible impossibility. Because she knew their state. So why did HaKadosh Baruch Hu make it to be in such a way that our avos and imais were barren? Why did Hashem make it like this? Because Hashem wanted that the foundation of this nation should be Dafra Achar HaYush HaGomor. Should be rooted in a place of total despair. That even Sarah wouldn't believe that she would have a child. Because this is what it means to be a Jew in this world. And this is what we're going to need throughout 2,000 years exile. We're the Am HaNetzach. We're the Am HaPeleh. We're the Am HaPeleh. We're a wondrous people. We are a miraculous nation. Lahamin, to believe she'ein lihisyayish klal, that there's never reason to despair. Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu could help, and Hashem will help, and Hashem is already helping. And that which we think is HaKadosh Baruch Hu Chas v'Shalom hurting us is our limited perception, which is the teaching that you have either in your hands or wherever else you put it that was on the chairs, which is a teaching from the Baal Tanya. We're not going to learn it now, but you'll take it home and you'll focus on it. It's called Haskil Chabina. It comes from Ikeres HaKodesh Parakid Aleph. It's a very, very famous piece in Chabad Chasidus. And you're going to be a bit surprised when you read it. You're going to be a bit surprised. It's not going to be easy to read it. It is very, very sharp. And I deliberated, you should know, for a long time whether to give out this piece or not. Because there was another teaching that was much softer. I said, no, this is the time. Because in that piece he says that a person that on the most foundational level of their identity believes that they're experiencing something bad, he says this is equivalent to kfir. I know it's hard to hear. 230 plus of our brothers and sisters, many of them are babies and children, are being held in tunnels by Hamas. Well, that's not bad. It's not something to cry about. You better believe it's something to cry about. And all of us have cried about it and will cry about it, and we're going to celebrate their return. But there's a layer beyond the crying. And in that place, and these are his words, and you'll read it for yourself, Ein davar ra yerid min hashamayim. Nothing bad ever happens. Nothing. No thing. Hashem is running his world in a perfect way. We are limited. We don't see it. And our task is to hold on to emunah, not despite the darkness, specifically because of it. The emunascha, not baboiker, baleilos. This is it. It's like all the chaver that learn all the Chazak and all the Sfarim, and they know it and they teach it, and then when they actually go through a challenging time, it's like, this is not relevant anymore. What do you think it was written for? It's for now. For now. This is what it was written for. Now is the time. Now is the time to access our toolbox of Jewishness, rooted in the laughter of Yitzchak, battling against the late sons of Amalek, the Tmimus of Yaakov Avinu, Asher Tmimei Darech HaHolchim B'Saras Hashem. The road might be littered with obstacles, but there's a road and we're going to overcome. Netzach Yisrael Lo Yishaker. This is a joke. We're almost there. V'tischak liyoim achrei. When we get to that punchline, where we look Amalek in the face, and we look all the generations of all the nations that sought to subdue us and destroy us and eradicate us from the world, and we look at them with the same small smile of our great-great-great-grandparents who walked the streets of the Warsaw Ghetto. And we present to them the punchline of history. And there is a God after all, yeah. There is a God. And we are his nation. And this is our land. And will you finally allow us to be what we were meant to be when we were chosen in our Sinai, to be an Ohr Yerushalayim? Will you finally stop pummeling me for long enough for me to tell you that I love you? And that I'm your brother? And that you're created with B'Tselem Elokim? And then we could have utopia on earth if you'll just stop for a minute? We're almost there. Says Chazak, he finishes, and this is the same thing about the ultimate salvation. Ne'emar, the Pasuk Yeshayahu says, Mihem l'shua seinu, who would believe it? Says Mashiach. Who would believe it? The Gemara in Sanhedrin, that's how the Zion of an Aleph tells us that Mashiach will only come in such a state where Al Pi Teva, finished, Nigmara Sipur. There is no inyan anymore of any hishtadlus that can help. V'halkein Amar. He beat all Avram Avichem al Sartach Eilecha. The Pasuk in Shayo says, At the end of time, look toward Avram. Look toward Sarah. This is who we are as a nation. This is the light that we reveal in the world. We don't look remarkable, we're not big tzaddikim, but we're shining from one end of the world to the other. And all the while that we can hold on to our emunah, we bring hope to the world. We bring light to the world. We channel the energy of the Shekhinah down into ourselves. We reveal godliness in the world. We reveal hopefulness in the world. We should be zeicher to hold on tight. This is it. This is it. Now is not the time to have chalishas hadas. Now is the time to be stronger than ever. Stronger than ever. Anachnu am HaPeleh. Am netzach lo mefached miderech aruka. The eternal nation has no fear of a very long journey. Tnimus, pshitos, ashreinu. What a privilege. going to read a story to you now, and we'll sing a few more songs and we'll finish for tonight. I bless us to hold on to this, to hold on to each other. This is what we need now. This is what we need. We need to remember who we are. We need to hold on to it with pride. Hold your head high. Hold your head high. Ashrenu. I want you to know that Eretz Yisrael is mamish our land. It's mamish our land. It doesn't matter how many hundreds of thousands of people scream about freeing Palestine. Eretz Yisrael is our land, not in the way of property being owned by a person, that it's his property. But it's like if I say that my heart is my heart. My heart is not my heart because I own it. When I say it's my heart, it means it's mamish. I can't function without it. It isn't, it's part of me. Think about the two sides in this conflict. One side says, we own this land. And the other side says, nobody owns any land, ever. This is God's world. He created this place. And He gave it to us. We didn't do anything. We can't show a contract. It's not ours because we own it. It's ours because there's a God in the world. And because I can't breathe without Yerushalayim. And I bless us all to go back where we belong. And if we can't do that tomorrow, let it be on our minds. I'm sure it already is on yours. At our Gusha just a couple nights ago, I literally wanted to pack up every single tiny thing in my house into whatever suitcases I had, and I wanted, without a plan, and without parnasa, and without anything. I don't want to be here. I love you guys, and I love Manchester and London. Zemagil, I don't belong here. I want to go home. And I know that you're feeling the same way. It should be on our radar. So I want to read this to you. It's a short essay from one of my favorite authors in the whole world. I don't know why, she just has a way of writing. Brings me to life. Her name is Sarah Shapiro. And she's the daughter of the very famous American author Norman Cousins. Norman Cousins is very famous because he wrote a book called Anatomy of an Illness, where he describes having healed himself, so he claimed, from a debilitating illness by laughing, through humor. It became like a crazy bestseller, Norman Cousins. His daughter became a Balas Tshuva, and her married name is Shapiro, Sarah Shapiro, and she's a prolific author. And so she has this book, many books, but this book is called Don't You Know It's a Perfect World, which I think fits with a lot of what we've been saying. I want to read this to you. It's not bombastic, it's simple as they come, but that's the point. It's meaningless. The essay is called Living Here. I want you to open your hearts to this. I was on the number 1 bus one early evening a few weeks ago, waiting to leave the Kotel stop, when a girl around 18 got on and started rummaging through her purse for the fare. Standing there next to the driver, head slightly bowed, she was groping for her wallet with one hand, and with the other she was holding open her purse to the window's waning light. I was looking at her absentmindedly, thinking of other things, when out of the blue her impassive face squeezed up into a sudden, totally unexpected grimace. For a second it looked like laughter. She began to cry. This girl's paroxysm of emotion, I didn't even know that word. You're not alone, don't worry. It's a good word to know. In its startling nakedness was exposed embarrassingly before all of us silent strangers, when before we knew it, she had gotten control of herself. With upraised chin and a face composed, she turned into the aisle to find a seat. All eyes followed, including mine. She was well dressed, well put together, a seminary student, probably, American or British with glossy dark hair gathered back elegantly in a velvet clasp at the nape of her neck. Not the kind of person who would enjoy making a public spectacle of herself, that's for sure. I vaguely remember now having passed that girl as I left the plaza. I was pretty sure this was the same one, but at the hotel, crying's not unusual, and in any case, everybody's on a different wavelength there from the daily norm. All the ethereal, uninhabited faces. If you let yourself get distracted from your own praying and peek around surreptitiously to the right or to the left as you stand at the wall, you can get an uninvited glimpse into a whole lineup of strangers' concealed innermost worlds, and you know you shouldn't be looking. Bitter complaining, desperate anguish, lowly begging, fragile hope, a heart's desire, fervent dreams. The demand for an explanation from God for one's disasters, angry entreaty, joy unbound, gratitude relief, or, and this is pleasant to behold, the face of a human being engaged in some sublimely pleasurable communication with her Creator. Usually all these secret faces vanish instantly, spontaneously, when a woman pressed up against the stone turned around to confront the world. The bus was packed. There were no more seats. A kerchiefed Yerushalayim woman in her 60s was sitting next to me, also craned around to watch as the girl made her way through the standees, and she clucked her tongue and shook her head. Must have gotten bad news, she muttered sadly. I thought to myself, right, there's only one thing that makes a person sob uncontrollably like that in public. And the disturbing picture appeared in my mind's eye of myself in an American Airlines terminal at JFK some years before. I just arrived on an El Al flight from Tel Aviv and was searching for the connecting flight from Los Angeles when suddenly, to my own surprise, a wave of grief reared up so wildly inside me that I couldn't hold on. My suitcase dropped to the floor and I heard my own voice rising forth hoarsely in bewilderment, anger, and disbelief. Daddy. Daddy. I saw passersby staring warily, but they were just distant objects on the fringe of my awareness. Daddy, I moaned, like some sort of wounded creature. Daddy. How long did I stand there crying like that, as if I were there by force on my father's part? Some replied. My seatmate and I and several other passengers were still twisted around, following this girl with our eyes, not yet self-conscious about our curiosity. No more than a minute had passed since the girl had gotten on. We watched as another girl, a petite blonde near the back, she'd been waiting there apparently, gave a knowing look as the other came down the aisle and stretched out one arm unobtrusively. They clasped hands. At a friend's warm touch of understanding, the first girl's face fell in on itself again, and once again she was swept away by some powerful, measureless inner stride. She didn't bother herself now about people staring. She just stood there, crying openly, face tipped back silently as the tears streamed down. I imagined myself getting up now and consoling her too. I know what you're going through, I wanted to tell the bereaved girl. I know just what it's like to get the message when you're so far away. That's the price of living here, but believe it or not, you will feel better one day. You really will. This too shall pass. That's what I'd say, or some such nonsense, but of course I wouldn't do any such thing. I sat in my seat and turned around to face the front. A few minutes later, I twisted around and the girl was still weeping. I'm going back to talk to her, I said to the Yerushalayim woman, as if she'd expect an explanation. Our bus was hurtling along through the new underpass near Shariafo, and by the time I had made my way through all the people, my throat had tightened uncomfortably to suppress the rising up of some reawakened tidal swelling of my own. The girl's eyes were shut and she was in another world, so it was the friend whom I asked in an undertone, did somebody die? The friend looked up at me startled. Oh no. We're leaving Israel tonight. I couldn't quite absorb it. What? You're leaving Israel tonight? She nodded. And that's why you're crying? She nodded. I leaned over to the crying girl. Excuse me? Hello? She lifted her red and swollen eyes. You're crying because you're leaving Israel? She frowned self-consciously, not liking the stranger's intrusiveness. I felt like throwing back my head in laughter, and a bubble of delight and relief burst out. How wonderful, I exclaimed. She smiled tentatively. As I got back into my seat, which the Yerushalayim woman had saved for me, she said, "No. She's crying because she has to leave Israel tonight." Ma, don't bear it. Her face spread with pleasure. A few moments went by. "I was born here," she said. "I've never wanted to leave." It emerged in conversation that from the profits of her work at home as a seamstress, she had bought each of her 5 daughters apartments in the city. "Wow, how do you do that?" I asked. "From the day the first was born, I didn't buy luxuries." "What luxuries?" "Oh, clothes. I made them. I don't have an oven. I cook on the gas instead." Things like that. The woman smiled tranquilly. Here was someone who had accomplished something great in life and knew it. Her eyes disclosed a quiet, unambiguous happiness. The two of us talked some more until our gaze was drawn out the window, where Jerusalem in the twilight was darkening, as we were borne along. She was able to go back home. She was able to go back home. Hashem Hashem, only good news in the weeks and the months up ahead. We're mamish there. We have to hold on with emunah, share emunah with other people, be Chazak yourself and be Chazak others. We're going to make it. We're making it. We're on our way. Bezos Hashem, next time we should be able to dance and dance and dance. For now, we're going to keep it here. And we should only hear good news. Thank you so much to each and every one of you for coming. Straight. Thank you so much.